Hey guys, it's Joe of WagerTalk.com. Are you guys going to come over to WagerTalk on July 4th? Well, you really should. You're likely aware that we'll be offering every daily pick package for only $9 Friday to Monday. But did you also know on July 4th only, we will have a great special 7-day all access packages for just $76 for the week. That is less than $11 a day, you guys. So make sure on July 4th, you head over to WagerTalk.com and get this deal. 1 week of picks for just $76.
Welcome into First Pitch for June 30th. It's Wednesday's card. We're breaking down 4 games on tonight's slate, talking a little strikeout props as well. We got best bets at the end. 2 good guests joining me on today's slate. I am Drew Martin, your host, joined by Matt Josephs and Andrew McGinnis of Sports Memo and WagerTalk.com. First up here, Matt Josephs. Follow him on Twitter at MidMajorMatt. His work at SportsMemo.com. Matt, welcome in. Happy Wednesday to you.
Happy Wednesday to you as well. Just want to say I hate the Oakland Athletics, and I will never bet on the Arizona Diamondbacks ever again to do anything positive for me.
I second that, Matt. It was a tough day yesterday for me. I bet on the Arizona Diamondbacks, knowing if they lost, I would feel like a big idiot. And sure enough, here we both are. So we'll find the winners on today's card. Next up here, Andrew McGinnis, WagerTalk.com. Andrew, 5% in NBA, man. Welcome into the show.
Thanks a lot, Drew. Good to be back with you guys. My first 5% NBA play of the playoffs. So very low volume with those. Very low volume in hoops action in general, but looking to take care of business with that and try and keep going with MLB. It is a long haul, like you guys are saying. Some teams will get on your nerves, but it is a long season. We'll try and come out profitable. So look forward to catch some winners today. And happy belated out to you, Drew. I hope you had a good time, celebrated your birthday the right way. And I always remembered your birthday because we have birthdays very close together, and we always would talk about it on our CFL podcast together. So hope you enjoyed your day.
Yeah, that was fun, man. CFL right around the corner. So hopefully you're getting ready for that. They're playing this year, right, Andrew?
I can't wait. Early August, a shortened season as well.
Yeah, so make sure to check that out at WagerTalk.com. Happy belated birthday to you as well, McGinnis. So, guys, let's start off here in the NL East. Top of the card here, we get the New York Mets and the Atlanta Braves. Max Fried here, Matt, versus Peterson going for the Mets. We're seeing minus 145 here. That's the Braves at home in Cobb County. 9 being the total. 7:20 Eastern start here, Matt. You liking anything in the ATL?
Well, I don't trust David Peterson at all. I've burned some money on him in strikeout props, so I don't like him. He's 0-3 with a 7.03 ERA and 8 starts on the road, and he pitched in Atlanta back last month. Gave up 3 runs, 5 hits in just over 4 innings. He has decent numbers in terms of his batting average against, 220 the first time through the lineup, 231 the second time through the lineup, but I just don't trust him at all. And then you've got Fried, who I don't think has gotten back to the form that he used to be. I mean, I remember last year when I was on with Tony Finn, he would talk about how he was the best lefty in baseball, and we have not seen that. First time through the lineup, he actually struggles. A 261 batting average, 229 the second time, but the Mets lineup has been pretty bad. A lot of question marks on both sides here, Drew. Plus, you got Max Fried coming off of a little bit of time off. He had the finger issue, so it's really hard to come up with anything here. These two teams have trended to the under, but these two pitchers are very hard to trust nowadays.
Yeah, I found Max Fried is a bit of a tough handicap, Matt. But McGinnis, maybe you could jump in here because Doug Peterson, Matt not liking him too much, but actually of recent 2 earned runs in his last 3 starts combined. So he's been good of recent. I mean, the Braves do hit better at home, but yet the Mets have the better bullpen here. So a little bit of a tricky handicap. I lean towards the underdog, but I haven't fired away. What are you thinking tonight in the ATL?
From a side standpoint, I'm looking towards the underdog as well, just like you. I think it's funny. You can look sometimes and try and say, I was saying yesterday to Matt that you don't want to find pitchers you just hate. You have to learn to adjust. And I feel like that's a perfect example of today's game with Peterson, Drew. Like you kind of teed me up, adjusting your thoughts on somebody, not just trying to, hate on them or fade on them the entire season. And this is a guy trying to turn the tables a little bit. And everything I've read kind of points towards his numbers might not indicate the skill capability that he has. And, everyone, it's true. Fried has missed some time, but where I'm looking here is actually the first 5 innings under 5, like a minus 115 price. I do believe We will see some quality pitching out of these two guys, and I understand there's some intangibles for both of them. We have seen some bad outings from Peterson. We are questioning a little bit about what we're going to see from Fried, but this Mets team, or this Braves team, they've only scored more than 3 runs once in their last 10 games. The Mets, they're not anyone to write home about either for piling the runs in either. And I'm just isolating the first 5 here with these two guys out there. And again, we've seen a lot better stuff from Peterson than we might have, it's a long, long season in the MLB. So I'm going to go with the first 5 innings under here.
All right, looking towards the under tonight in Atlanta. Guys, we got 3 games left. Huge shout out to the chat box, everybody joining in live here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. Abby, Jimmy, James, wishing us happy birthdays here, McGinnis. We got everybody joining in. Big Wave Dave as well. Let us know where you're coming to us from, and any bet you're looking at in tonight's game. It's all welcome here on the chat box. And like always, guys, if you're liking the content, please smash that like button. It does help us out on YouTube Monday through Friday, 1:45 Eastern time, each and every day throughout the week. We got a big one up next, McGinnis, 7:05 Eastern. I say a big one just because a lot of eyeballs are going to be on this one. We get Shohei Ohtani here versus the Yankees. Just that matchup in itself. We're bringing a whole, country here and versus one of the largest fan bases out there, in the Yankees across all sports here. German on the hill for the Yankees. He has not been good, McGinnis. 12 innings, 14 earned runs, 16 line drives I saw he's given up in his last 3 starts. That's not good. They're having to lay $1.25 here. Total of 10 in Yankee Stadium. You liking anything here? Angels and Yankees.
Well, I mean, how crazy is it that we can see a guy like Ohtani, step up to bat, hit a homer? Obviously that game worked out well for the Yankees, but now we see him just pitching the next day. This guy has been outstanding. He's amazing to watch. But you talk about German, I look at him, and it's kind of funny. I mean, certain people, they don't come to play against the better teams, and probably because, the teams are great and can hit. But I mean, he's actually done well against teams with a losing record. He's won 4 straight at home against teams with a losing record. Ohtani hasn't done well as an underdog, so I'm curious to see how that works, especially on the road. So, and especially looking at the Yankees right now, I mentioned before how long of a season the MLB is. When you look at it, a lot of the times when you're trying to find a team to get hot or you're betting on a team, you want to see them just put up a bunch of runs in one game. Give me one solid effort and I'll jump aboard. And I feel like it's kind of a cliche thing a lot of handicappers use, but I think for this Yankees team, it's very applicable here. So I'm going to take the Yankees, the Bronx Bombers. Give me the Yanks here, Drew.
All right, Yankees minus $1.25. They have been hot the last week here, Matt, but Shohei Ohtani, we just saw the graphic there. Joe and Robert behind the scenes really doing great work for the show here. Shohei Ohtani, 28 home runs. I didn't realize that. He's also only given up 1 earned run in each of his last 2 starts and has 82 strikeouts in 59 innings here, Matt. I know you're a strikeout prop guy. He's been getting a lot of Ks, man. What are you thinking tonight overall here in Yankee Stadium?
I would be on the Angels first 5. I don't trust the Angels bullpen here. I just can't. And Herman's velocity has been down as of late, and he's just not pitching as well. He's a guy I certainly don't trust. The only thing that goes in his favor is that only 3 Angels have seen him before. The other thing is, first time through the order, 309 batting average for opponents. And the Angels have the type of hitters that can take advantage of a guy that's going to leave some pitches up there. Remember, Ohtani pitches and he hits. So that's going to be huge for this lineup. One thing to consider when you look at Ohtani, tonight's umpire, the home plate umpire, the second highest average walks per game of the slate tonight. So we know Ohtani at times struggles with walks. Luckily, the Yankees don't walk a ton. They either home run or strike out. So to me, I'll take the better pitcher here in that first 5 innings. Keep the Angels bullpen out of here. I just don't trust this Yankee lineup. And if Ohtani's not having the control issues he's had in the past, I think the Angels are worth a look here only in the first 5 because that bullpen's atrocious.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. The Yankees are going to have a little bit of an advantage in the later innings there. Hey, Matt, we're through 2 games. We got 2 games left, and this is kind of off the cuff here, but I wanted to ask you about the strikeout props. One, guys, if you're not following him on Twitter at MidMajorMatt, he gives out great advice in terms of, where the strikeout prop trends are going. Also on sportsmemo.com, he's been killing it as well. But Matt, we got a situation here that you've kind of pointed me to with the Colorado Rockies and their opposing starting pitchers going under for their K prop trends. And we got an early game here. It's 3:10. It wasn't a game we're supposed to talk about here, but Chad Kuhl, John Gray, 11 being the total. Colorado minus 160 here. Chad Kuhl, I saw his strikeout prop at 3.5. I bet it personally under, just with a lot of what you've kind of taught me here. Did you touch that one at all? And any other K props on tonight's slate you wanted to hit on?
Yeah, Chad Kuhl. I mean, look, I don't love the 3.5. I didn't take it yesterday. I should have with DeYoung. He had 3. He went under his total. We know Kuhl can strike guys out. The problem with the Rockies is Ryan McMahon's in the lineup, and Ryan McMahon's a walking strikeout. And if he gets K'd twice, and then the pitcher gets K'd twice, there's your 4. But by the trends, I did go under there. Plus, it was plus money in a couple of places offshore. The trend is, for people who are not familiar, 36 of 43 opposing pitchers have had 5 strikeouts or less in Coors Field. So based off the trend here, and we're seeing the books adjust this because we've seen people like Yu Darvish and Brandon Woodruff and Corbin Burns all go under their totals in Coors Field. So I like the under here. I like it because it's a plus price. I also like it because of the trend. Wish it was a little bit higher, but of course we can't get what we want there. So yeah, I played it based off the trend and based off the plus price. Wouldn't be surprised if it does go over because of McMahon and the pitcher. But I mean, it was too nice of a price to not take it in this day-to-day.
And Matt, last question on this. Do you think the books are starting to adjust here on the Colorado Rockies opposing starting pitcher trend heading under? Because I've noticed just in the last couple of days, it used to be 5.5, 6, and now we're really seeing 3.5 and 4s. Do you think that's actually the matchup of the pitcher versus the Rockies lineup? Or do you think, what you're tweeting, what I'm talking about here, they're actually listening and they're just shifting it kind of on air here?
I'd like to think they're all watching our show because we're the best. But, I mean, I don't know. I think also, Drew, unfortunately, we've had some crappy pitchers. Tyler Anderson's not very good. Chase DeYoung's not very good. Chad Kuhl's not very good. I think we're going to keep getting the higher numbers for the guys like Burns and Woodruff, and so we just have to take advantage of it when they do play at home. And, of course, on the road, they've got their own trend, too. 29 of 37 opposing pitchers have had 5 strikeouts or more against the Rockies on the road. So that's just kind of a trend that you just want to watch. Wherever the Rockies are, you either take the under or the over, depending upon who the pitcher is.
Yeah, that's a good point. It might be just as much the Rockies lineup away from home and home splits as it is the opposing pitchers trend in Coors Field. And when they line up, that's kind of the best of both worlds. Andrew, I know you're a big hockey guy. It's kind of similar almost. I've heard the different hockey props there. Anything real quick before we move on K props or hockey props that you've been betting?
Well, what I'll say, Matt and I have been talking about these quite a bit, Drew, is that I've been looking a lot more to avoiding these all-star guys and looking towards the mid-major players, I guess, to use that reference. I mean, looking towards, for example, for a shot prop, instead of taking the guy that gets a lot of shots over 3.5, maybe look at the guy that has a 1.5 as his total and try and exploit that and see how the odds makers are wrong about him. I feel like odds makers think they're a lot sharper on these guys that are the all-stars, but might slip a little bit on the guys that fall under the radar. Same thing with those pitchers. I've been trying to take these K props. If I'm going over at least, I'm going to try and go over a 4.5 or a 5.5. I'm not really interested in these 6.5, 7.5, 8.5s, laying these big numbers. So I guess what I'll say, Drew, for what I've been doing for these K props and different props in different sports is looking at the secondary guys. Even in the NBA, you can look at certain guys over 8 points, 10 points. You're asking them to get to the free throw line a few times and hit 1 3-pointer. All of a sudden you have a win.
Okay, good stuff there, guys. And last here, before we move down to Seattle and Toronto, a K prop that I bet personally here is actually Joe Musgrove, talking about what Andrew said, kind of the higher strikeout guys. We get 6.5 here. He's up against Cincinnati. I took the under actually at minus 115. He actually only had 2 strikeouts against this Cincinnati lineup in Petco Park. In 7 innings pitched. So for whatever reason, they see him well. And the fact is Cincinnati doesn't strike out nearly as much at home. Joe Musgrove is on the road. So might correlate there with the Reds at the big plus price. But I did bet personally under 6.5 strikeouts for Joe Musgrove tonight, if you feel like tailing a K prop there. But Matt, next game up here, we get the Seattle Mariners and the Toronto Blue Jays, of course, playing in Buffalo here. Steven Matz and Jesus Sheffield going for the M's. So we get the Jays and the M's tonight. Jays laying minus 185 at the open. We're seeing them as high as minus 240 now, Matt. So some serious cash here towards the Jays at home. 10.5 being the total. You liking anything in Buffalo?
Well, I mean, Justice Sheffield's just not the same guy that he was last year. Last year was a guy I liked his over on his strikeout props, and I liked backing him as well because he was showing a lot of stuff. This year, he's 1-4 with a 6.39 ERA in 6 road starts, only 27 strikeouts to 12 walks in those games. He gets progressively worse as the game goes along. 243 batting average the first time, 324 the second time, 348 the few times he's actually made it to the third time. So it's almost like if you want to kind of live bet this game and wait till after that first set when you see what Justice has and take Toronto later on, that could be one of those situations. Steven Matz does not like pitching at home. 1-2 with a 5.76 ERA in 5 starts, only 22 strikeouts in those 5 starts here. He's very good the first time through the order. He gets worse the second time through the order. The wind is blowing in. There's a chance for some rain in Buffalo. The wind is blowing in, and you know these minor league ballparks, the wind will be a factor. So if you're considering the total here, you may want to look potentially at the under because of how much the wind's going to blow. There could also be a bit of a late start because there could be some rain in the area. So it's 2 pitchers that are unbackable here. Maybe you want to live bet the situation, let both pitchers go through their first time through the order and kind of see where we're sitting because we know that both of them get worse as the game goes along.
And McGinnis, I wanted to get the Blue Jays on, knowing you would be on the show here, but man, they have taken some huge cash here, up over -$2 right now. Steven Matz has been solid. This one in Buffalo, it's a hot lineup. They smash lefties. I don't know. I don't know if I could go against them on the M's tonight, man. What are you thinking?
I don't know if I can either, and I'm not going to actually. I cashed some tickets before on Sheffield, just like Matt said he had. I think it was a guy I was looking at, and you're always going to get some good prices with the Mariners, but they've just hung around 500 all year long, Drew. They just kind of been floating around, not doing anything too special, just kind of hanging around that record. But I don't even think they're as good as what the record says they are. Sheffield allowed 14 runs in his last 13 and a third innings. Nothing about what this guy has done recently has been special or anything to write home about. And the Jays, it's easy to back their team total right now, Drew. I mean, why don't you just take away the other team out of the equation, betting these money lines or run lines and take a look at a team total for a team like the Blue Jays right now. You can't count them out. They could have 3 runs in the 7th inning and all of a sudden reach, 6 or 7, like it's nobody's business. So I look at this team bottom, from the top to bottom of their lineup. It seems like they're hitting the ball pretty well right now. And I don't think things get too much better for Sheffield. And as far as Matz, I get it, but I feel like this is an opportunity for him. The schedule hasn't been great for the Jays. I'm going to kind of sound like a homer here, Drew. You mentioned you picked the game for me, but the schedule hasn't been great for the Jays, and we're starting to see some really big success for them because they're playing some weaker opponents. We saw what they did to the Orioles, but the Orioles, everyone beats them down, but we're really starting to see the power of their lineup. You give them a subpar pitcher, they're going to get the job done. So give me the Jays in the run line, but I really like that team total of theirs tonight.
Yeah, good stuff there, McGinnis. And guys, we got 1 game left before best bets. And actually it's an interleague matchup here, guys. And I don't know if there was a time change or if I just messed up because it was last on the board here, but I'm seeing actually 4:05 Eastern here, McGinnis, with the Tampa Bay Rays, Washington Nationals. We get Drew Rosenheisen. I believe that's how you pronounce his last name. I haven't seen this guy pitch yet. He's got a good first name in Drew, but John Lester going for the Nationals here, the lefty. 9.5 being the total, -$1.25 here. That's the Rays laying on the road. I believe this is going to be a bullpen game for the Rays. So kind of a tricky handicap that way here, McGinnis, but 2 good bullpens. And again, guys, note that this is now a 4:05 Eastern start here. So McGinnis, you liking anything here, Rays and Nationals?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Drew, do you ever go by Andrew? I know that is your real name, but do you ever go by Andrew? Does your family call you Andrew, or is it Drew for everybody?
Yeah, sure. It was my given name. I mean, Andrew reminds me of when I'm like a child doing something wrong and my mom's trying to scold me. But yes, I have, to answer your question. But mostly Drew, Martin, Party Marty, Sunshine, it all kinds of works.
Party
here,
Marty. Wow. Wow. I like that. I like that one. That's a good one. I'm going to guess that's a college nickname for sure. Drew, what I find so cool about baseball and just sports betting in general is that you can have people always joke around about their favorite team being the team they bet on. Well, I do have some favorite teams, but second favorite team is going to be the team that I'm on that night. And it's funny because I'm on different sides tonight in this game than I was last night. I'm on the Rays tonight. Last night I cashed a 4% winner with the clients on the Nationals. And It's very simple for me. It's a fade old man Lester. I love, I always say that you don't want to just find certain guys to just attack, but this is a guy I've had plenty of success fading in the past. And I understand you say it might be a bullpen game for them, but let's be honest, unless they're, extremely fatigued, they do have a pretty strong bullpen. Also, this Rays team, they have great defensive statistics. They're the kind of team that doesn't really fall deep into either statistic. I mean, you look at them, ranking 6th in the league in runs at 4.9, around middle of the table in hitting stats, top 10 in most defensive. And right now, it's almost a 5 ERA, as you can see on the screen for Lester. I just think it's a bounce back opportunity here for this Rays team, and they can hit the ball. So I really liked the spot yesterday for the Nationals. Got the job done, but also the Rays didn't really give up. Late, they were still putting some hits on the board. They still made it close. It was only a 1-run game. So I'm going to go ahead here with the Rays. I feel like it's a good spot for them. I trust their bullpen, and I do think that the Rays put some runs up on the board.
Yeah, mid-major, Matt. I'm picking up a lot of what McGinnis was laying down there. I said bullpen game. That's not always a bad thing, though, guys. I mean, like McGinnis talked about, the Rays, by my ratings, are the number 2 bullpen in all of baseball here. So don't just take that as like a fade city here. And John Lester, Matt, like McGinnis just talked about, I mean, his last time out, 7 earned runs and 2 innings against the Marlins. Man, that's pretty ugly here. I like the Rays as well. I mean, minus $1.25. I think it's kind of short here, Matt. What do you think?
I don't trust John Lester at all. He has faced the Rays already this month and gave up 1 earned run and 4 hits and 3 2/3 innings. But Tampa Bay is just not a good team against left-handed pitchers. And not only that, of course, you have the pitcher batting 9th. And with the fact that it's going to be somewhat of a bullpen game, you're going to be blowing through pinch hitters left and right here. So what's going to happen is Rasmussen's probably going to go 1 or 2 innings at the most, and then Michael Wacha is going to take over. And Michael Wacha has been somewhat of a train wreck so far this season. First time through the order, 323 batting average, a 197 batting average the second time. Figures to probably go 5 innings after that opener by Rasmussen here. For guys who do DFS, Starlin Castro is 12 of 28 with 3 homers lifetime against Michael Wacha. Kyle Schwarber's got great numbers against Wacha, 4 of 12 with 2 homers. And on the other side, Manuel Margot, 7 of 13 with a home run against John Lester. This is also one of these games that I kind of want to wait and see live because the Nats lineup has been pretty good so far, and I don't know necessarily if I want to step out in front of it. Their bullpen has been a little bit taxed as of late, so that's not exactly a good thing. And as I've talked about, if there's ever a team who can navigate around not having an ace, it's the Rays here. So I think I'm going to wait and see how this game kind of goes and look for a live betting situation. Maybe Lester has it early, and maybe he goes 5 or 6 innings because the Rays do have those stretches where they can't hit or can't do anything right. So I lean to the Rays with you guys, but I'm probably just going to wait in game and see how this thing kind of lays out early on.
Yeah, good point there, Matt, in terms of they have struggled a little bit more versus lefties. The Rays are better versus righties. There's something to keep in mind, guys, as we do have best bets coming up here. Again, shout out to the chat box, all the VIPs in here, Jessica, Abby, Ty as well. All of you guys, appreciate you chiming in. Always good stuff there. And if you're watching on replay, that works too, guys. Feel free to leave a line below in the comments section. If you're liking the content, please smash the like button. We got time for best bets. Matt Joseph's up first. Follow him on Twitter at MidMajorMatt. Guys, he's got a Suns Clippers 2-pack here. Props available. He has not lost on any playoff prop bets yet this season, Matt. So you're riding a pretty good streak here in the NBA playoffs, man. The props package is available up at sportsmemo.com. Any final thoughts on that? Final thoughts on the show, and where are you going for best bets?
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of pick my spots, dip in and out, and so far we've been doing really well in the NBA playoffs and put 2 up last night, and so far the numbers haven't moved other than the juice, so that's good. So that's for over on Sports Memo. And best bet, the chat has talked about it a lot. It's Matt Harvey Day, and the Astros coming off a couple of losses. I'm taking over 5.5 runs for the Houston Astros today. I was very surprised not to see a 6.5 because it is Matt Harvey. 7.93 ERA and 8 road starts. 7.54 ERA overall. Batters are hitting 309 against him and then 283 the second time. And opponents have scored 6 runs or more in 8 of his last 10 starts. We know that Baltimore's bullpen is bad. Anytime Matt Harvey's out there, the books are making it hard to take run lines. I don't do the -2s, -2.5s, so I'll take advantage of it by playing the Astros team total over 5.5.
All right, I like it, Matt. And guys, for best bets, I'm going to the San Diego Padres Cincinnati Reds game. I'm taking a shot here with the big underdog and the Reds plus 160. It kind of correlates with the K prop I talked about earlier in the show. Joe Musgrove went 7 innings, only 2 strikeouts versus the Cincinnati lineup. His last time against him, that was in Petco Park. And the thing here is the Cincinnati Reds are a lot better hitting team at home. One of the best, actually, 351 WOBA at home, whereas they struggle a little bit on the road. So I don't think he has nearly as good of an outing against Cincinnati. And their starting pitcher, the 25-year-old Cuban Gutierrez, he's been up and down, solid. And I'm not afraid to back these young rookies. He's got good stuff here. And the Reds lineup against righties, top 5 in MLB. So I'm back in the Cincinnati Reds here, plus 160 as my best bet. And again, guys, in recap, did give out that K prop earlier in the show, under 6.5 strikeouts for Joe Musgrove. So next up here, Andrew McGinnis. And guys, he's number 2 in MLB profits here the last 365 days at WagerTalk.com. He's got his 5% up in the NBA. McGinnis, any final thoughts here for the show? And where are you going for best bets, buddy?
Yeah, final thoughts. I mean, you're going to have to ditch those other nicknames, Drew, and just stick with Plus Money Martin, because that's going to have to be your nickname, at least for this show. I'm going with the Rays for my best bet on the show. Like I said, I love the fact that you can look at one team, one game, like the Nationals for me yesterday, and absolutely flip-flop the next game, and I'm backing the Rays. I just think that was a great bet-on spot for the Nationals. They're a team that's in pretty good form right now. But I think the Rays are just such a well-rounded team all around, and you mentioned it, Drew, and you kind of elaborated on what I said about, having a bullpen game doesn't always mean bad things. So I think it's a reasonable price here on the Rays. I'm going to back them on the money line. And yes, I do have my 5% play up in the NBA, my very first 5% play of the playoffs. And MLB has been good. It's been a little bit up and down recently, but on a longer scale, like you said, number 2 last 365 days, just right there behind Smoking Koken, and he's a hard guy to beat.
Absolutely. Dave will be on tomorrow. And guys, actually, I'm going to be off tomorrow and Friday from the show. Steve Merrill's jumping in and hosting here. So we'll be back on Monday after the 4th of July holiday. So hopefully everybody out there enjoys it. We got Cuban Connect, Patrick, Juan, Danzo, Rara in the house, bringing it in terms of different bets here in the chat box. Feel free to check that out. Wager Talk YouTube channel. Again, guys, Monday through Friday, 1:45 Eastern time, each and every day, weekday. We got the recap for best bets. I'm on the big underdog Cincinnati Reds plus 160. We get Matt Joseph's Astros team total. I like this one, Matt, over 5.5 minus 120, and McGinnis on the Rays there minus $1.25. So best of luck if you're tailing out there, guys. Please smash that like button on your way out. Again, I'll be out the next 2 days. Steve Merrill stepping in. So happy 4th of July weekend. Have a fun, safe weekend for me. We'll be back as a group here tomorrow, same time, same place. Best of luck until then.
Hey guys, it's Joe of WagerTalk.com. Are you guys going to come over to WagerTalk on July 4th? Well, you really should. You're likely aware that we'll be offering every daily pick package for only $9 Friday to Monday. But did you also know on July 4th only, we will have a great special 7-day all access packages for just $76 for the week. That is less than $11 a day, you guys. So make sure on July 4th, you head over to WagerTalk.com and get this deal. 1 week of picks for just $76.